1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to It's Not a Sport, Season 3, Episode 6. So, continuing on with our new format, we're just going to get straight into the talk of this week's show, which will be about Xbox's Game Pass. So, we're continuing our series with Xbox and talk about the news that came out this week. Not a whole lot again. We're getting stale, and this is now we're moving on to where games will start to release and ramp up a little bit. And then we'll talk about esports, what's going on in the esports scenes and the current as well. So, as always, let's just get into our main talk, which is the Xbox Game Pass. So you don't know what the Xbox Game Pass is. It's essentially a subscription service that Xbox launched in 2017. It is on PC and on Xbox, all Xbox consoles. It is what they've been pushing for. Is what we talked about last week. It's, they're big, of play wherever you want on any device that you want, which I think is huge for Xbox, and it is something that is gone under the radar for a lot of gamers, I feel like, but definitely means a lot forward. So in short, the Xbox Game Pass, all it is really is it's just a subscription service. So it's just like they marketed it as Netflix for gamers. We saw there was a service that was like Netflix for gamers before Netflix really doubled down on streaming. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's essentially what it was. Queue in for a game, they would mail the game for you. You keep it as long as you want, and then you mail it back. The problem with that is that, of course, what people want are the games, and the newest games, when they came out on release, they had a shortage of them. So you were waiting really long to get a game that came out like a week ago, and people could keep it for as long as they want. So in hindsight, like Netflix, it was good games, and people want the newest stuff, at least with games, compared to movies, because they're different and they take a lot more time. It was difficult, and I think it failed. That's why I was a subscription member of it. But with Game Pass, that's not the thing. That's not the deal. You could get a lot of these games, for instance Grounded, which just came out in closed beta, on day one when it was released. Could get it on Game Pass, right? So that's just a brief overview of what Game Pass actually is. Now we're gonna go into the value of it, and I actually did some quick math and made a spreadsheet that I could show you, and I compared it to Netflix, just to get an idea how much value is actually in Game Pass, and that Microsoft is pushing this, because we have seen things that indie developers are actually they're kind of split, but they have been saying Game Pass is good. And just to see some of the games that are on Game, okay, just so we can go over them, they have Ark Survival, Ark Survival Evolved, which is the dinosaur game, the Batman Arkham Knight game, Daisy, Dead by Daylight, all the Forza games are on there, Gears 4 and there, Shadow of War, all the Halos are on there, Minecraft, Mortal Kombat, NBA, No Man's Sky. We have Red Dead Redemption, the new Ori, Rocket League, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, The Outer Wilds, Tabs, Halo Master, Humans Fall Flat, Minecraft Dungeons. All these games, of course, that are Xbox first party studios are gonna be on there day one, of course. And then we have all the other games as well. And there's and if I do F1, Fallout 76, Warband, a Pug's Tale, Alien Isolation, Alan Wake. If I just jump down the list a bit more, Metro Last Light, Monster Hunter, Nier So a lot of good games. And I did the math because there's 20 games per page on 19 pages, and we can go on the make sure to look at on the YouTube channel so you can actually see the spreadsheet and the numbers screen. But right now we have about 376 games on their website listed for Game Pass. 376 games is a lot of games, like that's over years on people's Steam's list. But just for a certain subscription price, you get 376 games and the new games like Grounded or Halo when it comes out, when it gets released, that's going to be on there. It's just themselves. That's a lot, and that 376 is going up. So, like, what are the subscriptions? Now we get into a little bit of the number value things, just how we know that Xbox is doing this and this Game Pass. So, first off, right now, I think this is an exclusive deal kind of going on right now. But if you get it on PC and it's in beta in PC, it's $1 for the first month, which is huge. That's 376 games for $1. Like, insane. Of course, it's just the first month, and you download it and you can play it as much as you want, but that's pretty big. Then after that, it goes to $5 a month, and then the console rating, which I'm pretty sure is just the regular console, and that probably PC will go up to it, is $10 a month. And then for Ultimate, which they talked about kind of on their stream, like Ultimate, you can goes into xCloud, which is their streaming service, and you can stream that on your phone or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't really know the difference, but that's the price tag, and those are rounded up. Like the 15 is actually just like $14.99, so it's probably not exactly 15, not tax, but I rounded those up just so you know about those numbers, right? So now for your first month, well, for for a year basically. If it's $5 a month on PC, I'm not counting the $1, it's $60 a year. Price of one retail game. And then if it's $10, it's $120, and if it's Ultimate, it's $180 for a year, which is huge. So now I broke this down into like totals, right? So compared to a game, right? If you want to spend, let's say you buy a $60 game for each month, right? That's $720 compared to the $180 for Ultimate and 76. So automatically there's already just a huge value thing here. It's really big value wise, where you're not spending as much long term you are with the Game Pass. And I'm not even getting into depth with like when you spend $60 on like PlayStation Store, PlayStation takes 30% of that $60. And I'm sure Xbox, where they're taking a percentage of that money, but they're also giving but because it's it's not a flat cost and it's a subscription model, the developers for having their games on there are always going to make probably not as much as they would if they bucks, but long term it's going to be better for them because they're making more money long term. It's more stable. So that's one thing that to be aware of just moving forward. So then I did the math, right? And I did it by the model, and I did it for years. So first off, it launched in 2017. So 2017 is our starting year, and for 1 year it's 60, 2 years 120, for 3 years it's 100. And then for 4 years, which is our current year, if you were spending the $60 models, which is the PC $5, it would be $240, which totals is about $600 for 376 games over 4 years. Okay, which is pretty big. Now, I'm not going to take that's again, I said the PC beta $5 is kind of skeptical. I don't think that's going to change. I just put it in there. That's what they're offering right now at the time of, you know, recording this and looking at it. But I don't think I think that's probably going to go up. So take that, and then we just move it to the standard cost, which is the console, which is $10 a month, which the first month is $120. 140, then 360, and then for 4 months it's 480, which is $1,200 total over the course of 4 years, which that's 4 years. Okay, now that over, right? And we look, and now we can compare that to the average hardcore gamer by a year, right? Which it evens out at the same cost, which is obvious because now Microsoft, over the course of 4 years, they're making about the same money. So this is actually kind of interesting. So the average gamer will buy about 5 to 4 games a year. That's a hardcore gamer. So if we think this year, we'll think, let's say Halo Infinite, when Halo Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Cyberpunk. Those are 5 games for 2020 that may be on your radar that you would like to buy. They're all $60 games, priced at $60. That's $300 a year, right? $300 over the course of 4 years is $120, which is the same as the course of 10 years, but the difference is, again, value. Where you're games a year, okay, over 4 years, and that equals to $1,200, where you're spending, you know, less money for $10. You're spending $120 a year essentially with the subscription. Of course, the cost goes up, but you're still getting 376 games compared to 5. So like the value there already is just huge because you're 6 games compared to your average 5 over the course of those 4 years. So it's, and I know this is a very, very different episode than what we're used to, but I just want to, you know, express how much value is in Xbox Game Pass and what they are doing, how they're abandoning their process of making for games for the consoles, you know, for trying to sell their consoles, trying to make Gears and Halo to sell those consoles like Sony is doing, and doubling, you know, huge value process subscription service like Netflix. So now we're going to move over to Ultimate real quick. Ultimate, you know, you're spending $180 for the Ultimate subscription a year, and years that's going to be a total of $1,800. So it's not a huge difference, but, and I don't really know what Ultimate offers in like variety. I think it just offers the xCloud, which is their, you know, streaming service, and that's really it. But now let's compare this to Netflix. So Netflix, different price points. They have basic, standard, and premium, and most people are going to go for premium because you get more streaming devices, you get HD and standard, and you just get more shit. But like, if we're comparing this gaming process of the games you get compared to the movies that you get with Netflix, okay? So first off, the basic price is $9 a month, which translates to $108 a year. Then we have standard, which is $13, which goes to $156 a year. And we have premium, which is $16, which goes to $196 a year. All right. Over the course of 4 years, and we're gonna go premium. Most people are probably paying premium. It's about $2,000. It's $1,920 for your Netflix subscription versus Ultimate, which is $1,800 for the Ultimate subscription. So it's about $100. But the point is that with Netflix, you know, you get these services and they rotate out. A lot of these movies now, they're rotating out, and compared to, you know, Xbox Game Pass, as far as I know, none of these games are rotating out. There's games that aren't rotating, you know, and they're still there, no matter what. And the newest ones, which are $60, like Cyberpunk, release on day 1. So, you know, that's just the math side of it. It's just a, you know, little bit of into, but it is huge, huge what Xbox is doing. And then I have on the screen up, if you're watching on Netflix, is just the price points of Netflix essentially in the United States. So it's with their Game Pass. And it's flying in the radar because when, they were talking about it at their press conference and they were saying, oh, all these will be on Game Pass, and no one was talking about that. No one was talking about how much value is in Game trying to do with it. It's a subscription service that is, for gamers. And I think it's something that, is inevitable. We're going to have to get it. We're going to have to push for it. But they're really leading the charge. There's other, like EA has one, of course. Ubisoft has one, of course. And Sony has one, but not to the degree and the level of Xbox. And they're really pushing for this, even just this, but now it changes with this recent Halo tweet and the rumors that we talked about earlier. And this Halo tweet reads, "Halo is for everyone. We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 100 on the Xbox Series X. More details share later. Free to play." And we talked about this rumor a little bit later, or a little bit in a previous show, about how Xbox was trying to get rid of Xbox Gold. They're trying to get rid of that subscription. So now all their multiplayer games are free to play. And this kind of, I don't know, free to play, this could be like Fortnite free to play, but this kind of confirms it in a way, because you still need PlayStation Plus to play Fortnite online. So this is really interesting in that, Xbox is really doubling down on the Game Pass and getting rid of Xbox Gold. And Xbox Gold was already kind of a subscription service. The only thing you got was discounts, play online, and then they give you like a free game each month. So away from this is really interesting. Now, why and how can Xbox do this? Well, they can do it because at the end of the day, they're Microsoft, and they have something that a lot of companies don't have, which is money. Money and that firepower makes them, they can, take these risks and take these moves, and if it doesn't work out, they can always change it and revert it. But because they have all this money, because they have all this firepower, they can push their Game Pass and push the subscription service. They don't have to send out discs because people don't buy discs anymore. That's not really where this is going. This is about online. They 100% dictate the PC market. Every PC and every game that comes out on PC is on Windows, which is what they own and develop. They're a software company, and then they own Xbox. So they own, a big chunk of the gaming market, and they have an of the gaming market that Sony and a lot of other developers don't. Where Sony doesn't, if they wanted to, they could make all fucking Steam games uncompatible on Windows. Of course, that would screw it up because Windows is GameStop. That's what they are. Windows is actually the world. So, and Microsoft owns the world. So it's very big what this is doing. This talk is actually going on longer than I thought it would, because it's a huge value thing and something to definitely pay attention moving forward, because it's things like these that are going to change the industry up and change how everything works. Microsoft is really, they've been doing a lot of good stuff. Where Sony has been making a lot of good cinematic games, Microsoft has been doing a lot of good things overall for the industry and for the membership without being greedy. They haven't done, the bullshit or really pushed any of that we see like EA doing for. They are trying to make the foundation of the entire industry better as a whole, and that is something we have to recognize and support. Overall, it's just going to make game development, it's going to make everything better. I hope you enjoyed this week's talking about Xbox Game Pass. A lot of value in there. I hope you see it. I hope the numbers that I broke down for you really help you decide, whether you want to go for this and bring awareness to this. Make sure to check out our previous Xbox talk about the game show that we did last week up on our on YouTube. And they're also on our SoundCloud as well. And then make sure to leave a like, a follow, check out our website, and follow us on social media. It always helps out. So now, like always, we're just going to get into some of the news, and then we're going to get into the esports stuff. And there's not a whole lot of news, but some interesting stuff nonetheless. The first one being that the Yakuza director praised Ghost of Tsushima, saying Japan should have made it. Basically, they're jealous that, Naughty Dog, an American company, made Ghost of Tsushima. But then he was also saying, and the Yakuza director is, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, Toshiro Nagashi. He's a Sega executive director, and he's the director of the Yakuza games over at Sega, and he was praising Ghost of Tsushima. Honestly, Ghost of Tsushima has been selling like hotcakes. Sony has been told actual people in Japan to buy the digital version because there's not enough on-shelf versions of the game because it's just been selling like crazy, and I think it's sold the fastest for new IP, which the previous holder was Horizon Zero Dawn. So, and it's been doing very well for Sony. Nagoshi, I'm sorry, said a couple of praises about Ghost of Tsushima. He talked about how he really likes the black and white mode that the game has, and the particle effects and etc. Same things that I've talked about previously in previous shows. But it's just very interesting that he said that Japan should have made it. He also said some cool things about how, like, if Japan should have made it, he probably would have wanted they would have wanted a younger and prettier protagonist, as that we see like their culture like that in anime, and they couldn't kind of do a middle-aged dude like they did in the game anyway. But it works out overall, and that it's just a very interesting thing to hear someone say out of Japan, because I'm really happy that they made this game, and Sony, being a Japanese primary company, liked it and is doing very well, and even the Japanese themselves are liking it as well, and it holds up to their culture because they are big on culture, and they're one of the biggest countries in the world that still has untouched, untainted, unique culture, you could say. Moving on from them, we also going on with Sony that they did a survey saying that over half of gamers intend to buy a next-gen console within 3 months of launch, with the clear favorite being the PS5. So that's interesting. That's probably good news for Sony, just seeing that the PS5 is still the top dog, at least right now, saying that a lot of gamers in this survey want to get a PS5 and will buy it within the next 3 months. Me personally, I don't think I'm going to get it in the next 3 months. I think I'm going to wait until there's an actual game on the PS5 that I'm wanting to play before I pick up a PS5, but that is also my intended purpose, is to get a PS5 personally, and that's just because, as we talked in this week's talk, Xbox is putting things with the Game Pass on PC, so it's they want different things. This has kind of been the theme of the last couple episodes, so that's good to know that's coming out, or that's information that's going around. Also, continuing with PlayStation, Cuphead is now on the PS4. I didn't know I thought it was already on the PS4, but it turns out it wasn't. So now Cuphead is on the PlayStation 4. So, that's good if you want to play Cuphead on PlayStation 4. Now we get into some more gimmicks, news that I don't really cover so much. First one being Magic the Gathering bannings were just randomly announced today. And I want to cover this news because Magic the Gathering is one of the most complicated games designed out there. And if you're a game designer or just in general, you should play and know what Magic the Gathering is. And these bannings are interesting because, one, they're out of the blue. Usually they give you a warning and it's like to talk about. But first off, they're also big problem within the game's game design. And this can be a talk for normal, but I just want to talk about what they banned. So on standard, which is the game mode that is, pushes in new stuff that comes out, they banned Wilderness Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi Time Raveler, and Cauldron Familiar to stop Wilderness decks, ramp decks. Teferi was always a problematic card in sacrifice decks. In Pioneer, they banned Inverter of Truth, the Kethis, the Hidden Hand, Walking Ballista, and Underworld Breach to stop the combo decks. Last banning, they didn't do that. It disappointed a lot of people, and now they're doing it. And again, Historic Wilderness Reclamation, Teferi Time Raveler, and Brawl Teferi Time Raveler. And these bans go in effective today, and they give the reasons about it. Now, this is entirely different talk, but Magic's game design has been really bad for a while, and this is just I just wanted to bring this up because if you're a game designer, you're interested in game design, you should know about these things. Next is some more fun kind of gimmick stuff. I'm a big fan of MMOs. I like WoW. I like Final Fantasy. And I played bad MMOs from Blade and Soul and to Black Desert Online. Not some old schools like RuneScape, but we have some fun stuff in Final Fantasy because I think Final Fantasy is a big contender that you should play, whether you're a WoW fan or if you're a Final Fantasy fan. I think you should play WoW, and if you're a WoW fan, I think you should play Final Fantasy and give both a try because both have different things to offer. So we have, first off, the new patch comes out August 11th. So within like about a week, it's called Reflections in Crystal. It is the conclusion story patch to the current expansion's Shadowbringer. So that's why I bring it up. I think you should check it out. A lot of cool content. We have the story coming out. We have the Hero's Gauntlet, which is a new dungeon. We have a new mystery trial, which is probably the final boss of the expansion. We have the new Alliance raid, which is the Nier Automata raid that they've been doing, that partnered up with Nier Automata with Yokotaro, the Puppets of the Bunker. That comes out this patch. Save the Queen, the Blades of Gundyr also continues, which is your weapon quest for your legendary weapon or your resistance weapon or relic weapon, whatever you want to call it. We have a new battlefield, the Bizarre Southern Front. We have a new trial, which is continuing the weapons, the Ultimate Weapons series from Final Fantasy VII. We started with Ruby. Now we're going on to, I don't know, looks maybe Diamond. So we have that. We have some old content coming up, the Unreal content, which you go back and do old trials. The first one being Shiva. And then we have custom deliveries, new custom deliveries, Ishgard Restoration 3 for crafters, Realm Reborn story overall. So this is also why I bring up, if you're a new player, why you should bring this patch. They are redoing the original Realm Reborn story, which is the 2.2 story, which they did after the game failed when it first came out, and they redid everything. They redid this game, which is the first part, which is a Realm Reborn, and then you go into Heaven's Ward, then Stormblood, and then currently Shadowbringers. So, but a Realm Reborn has a lot of fetch quests and just really boring quests, and they redid that. They cut 13% of that. So this is now is a good time as a new player. You can come back or try out the game, and the beginning experience of this game isn't as bad, because just like in WoW, the beginning experience of Final Fantasy is what gates a lot of players, and it's same with WoW. Is like the leveling system is really boring. So now that they redid that, that's nice. And flying will also be available in these zones. So if you have a friend with a mount that can carry 2 people, he can fly you around these zones too, making it a lot faster. And then even if you just don't want to buy the game yet, you just want to give it a try, I know they're pushing the free expansion or the free trial all the way to Heaven's Ward, which is a lot of content. So bestly check that out. And then new mounts and minions, whatever. And then last, continue with PlayStation stuff, because this is just like history. They said the PS4 could have been the end of PlayStation, says former exec, and this just has to be with money. Like a lot of time and effort of Sony's goes into the new console cycle, so it has to be successful. Compared to Microsoft, where Microsoft already has money, it's not big for them. It's a big thing that they want to be successful, but it's not game changing where you put all the cards on the table. Sorry. So like the PS3 was a byproduct of this. We talked about this before. The PS3 has just been was a huge failure, and it fucked everything up. Anyway, let's get into esports real quick. Moving on, nothing huge, but we're gonna start with League of Legends in the LPL, which is China. We have Invictus and JD in first, then Top Esports third, Victory and Sunning in fourth, LEG 6th, Team WE 7th, OnePlus in 8th, Royals Never Give Up in 9th, Vinci in 10th, Edward in 11th, 12 is Billy B, 13 is Rogue, 14th is Oh My God, E-Star and LEG Esports, and Dominus is in last place in 17th. In LCK, which is Korea, we have DRX in first, followed by Damwon in second, Gen G in third, T1 in fourth, Afrika Freaks in fifth, Sandbox Gaming in sixth, KT Roster in seventh, Team Dynamic in eighth, and Hanghua Life and Seoul One Prince in ninth for last place. In LEC, which is Europe, we have Rogue and Mad Lions tied for first, SK and G2 tied for third, Excel and Fnatic tied for fifth, Origins, Misfits, Team Vitality all tied for seventh, and Skalak 04 dead last in 10th. In LCS, we have Team Liquid in first place, TSM and Cloud9 tied for second, FlyQuest in fourth, Golden Guardians in fifth, Evil Geniuses is sixth, 100 Thieves is seventh, Counterlogic Gaming is eighth, which is the playoff cutoff point, and Immortals and Dignitas are tied in ninth for last place. Moving on to the Overwatch League now, we have Shanghai Dragons in first, followed by Philadelphia, then San Francisco, Guangzhou Chargers, Paris, Florida, New York Excelsiors, Atlanta, Florida, Los Angeles Valiants, Hangzhou, Spark, Toronto, Seoul Dynasty, Los Angeles Gladiators, Dallas, Chengdu, London, Houston, Vancouver, Washington, and Boston is in last place. Overwatch League is also, I believe, going into their semifinals or their finals match because there's only 3 weeks left in the Overwatch League. So we have the knockout stages, brackouts in North America already set up. And it will be, first will be Atlanta versus Vancouver, and then Los Angeles versus Houston, Dallas versus Washington, Toronto versus Los Angeles Gladiators. In quarterfinals, we have Philadelphia versus to be decided. The to be decided slot will either be Toronto or Los Angeles. Paris to be decided. Paris versus to be decided. The to be decided will either be Dallas or Washington. In Florida to be decided, the to be decided slot will either be Los Angeles or Houston. Or Valorant and not Gladiators. And then San Francisco Shock versus to be decided will either be Atlanta or Vancouver. And then semifinals and finals is all to be decided based on who wins those games. Now we can move on to games that are coming out in the month of August. We're in August now, people. And what does that mean? Well, it means we're starting to ramp up and we'll start to see all the holiday releases for the end of the year, and we can start to decide which game is game of the year. So this is where the fun begins, as my favorite character in Star Wars, or one of my favorites, says. So first off, we have Fall Guys, Hellbound, Scully, Brawlhalla coming to mobile, Fast and Furious, and Horizon Zero Dawn will come to PC. That's the big one for this week. It comes out August 7th. Horizon Zero Dawn is a PlayStation exclusive. It was huge, and that will come to PC. So definitely check that out this week, because that's huge. And moving forward, we also have Initial Drift, Hyperscape coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on August 11th. Total War Troy will PC. We have UFC game, Microsoft Flight Simulator comes out on PC August 18th. Battletoads. We have golf game, PGA Tour 2K21, Straight Roads, Force, Jump Force comes to Switch. Madden, new Madden game comes out later this month. Wasteland, a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition comes out for PS4 and Switch. So a lot of good games to look forward to this week. I think the big one, of course, this week will be Horizon Zero Dawn. Of course, if you don't own a PlayStation, haven't played it, definitely check that one out. That one is worth checking out. It comes with the expansion DLC as well. So check that one out because it is a good one. Yeah, just like because I believe I talked about it in previous shows as well. It was one of the biggest surprises of new IPs that have just come out on PlayStation in recent history. So with any ado, that's going to conclude this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, a follow. You can listen to all of our previous shows. They're all archived on our YouTube channel, or we could follow us and we update each week on our SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. So that goes up each week, so you can always check that out on Mondays. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram. It's not a sport to you. This is your host, Salty Waffles, signing off, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful climb.